Have you ever heard the saying, draw for show, follow for dough? It refers to the fact that it is much easier to predict and control cue ball travel distance with follow shots. This enables precise position play, going forward an exact amount across the table, or up or down the table, or going off a rail a short distance into a small position window, or the same over a large distance, or for a lock-up, roll-up safety, or for a separation hide safety. To be able to execute all these shots accurately and with confidence, it helps to know some basic principles about follow shots. It also helps to practice follow-controlled drills. This video covers these things and more. Probably the best advice for follow shot control is to use a high tip and vary your stroke length based on the desired follow distance. If you use a consistent, smoothly accelerating stroke, shot speed is directly related to stroke length. With normal shots, every eighth of my stroke gives about a diamond of follow distance. This will obviously depend on the player and table conditions, but it works well for me on most equipment. You should try the following set of shots as a drill. Here's an eighth stroke length. The 1/8 stroke length sends the cue ball forward 1 diamond. Here's 2/8 or 1/4 of my stroke length. That sends the cue ball forward 2 diamonds. Here's 4/8 or 1/2, sending the cue ball forward 4 diamonds. Here's 6/8 or 3/4, sending the cue ball forward 6 diamonds. With the cue ball so close to the object ball and at fast speed, a high tip position is required to guarantee full topspin roll at the object ball. A useful follow reference is knowing how far the object ball will travel as a factor of a given cue ball follow distance. With a full hit and typical ball conditions, the object ball travels about 7.5 times as far as a rolling cue ball. Here's a good test shot to try on your table to see how close the balls get to the 7.5 times factor. If the cue ball follows forward 1 diamond with full topspin roll, the object ball should just barely bounce off the head cushion. When a rolling ball hits a cushion straight on, it loses about half its speed, as shown in a super slow motion video I posted many years ago. When half the speed is lost, the ball will travel only 1/4 of the distance it would have if the table were longer with no cushions. The 1/2 and 1/4 factors obviously depend some on rail and cushion properties. For example, the numbers would be smaller on a bouncy diamond brand table. With a little simple math, you can use the 7.5 times factor to predict object ball travel distance even when the object ball bounces off a cushion. For example, here's the 1/4 stroke from earlier that sent the cue ball forward 2 diamonds. 7.5 times that is 15, so if the table were longer and there were no cushions, that's how far the object ball would travel. But the object ball hits the cushion after 6 diamonds. That leaves 9 diamonds. 1/4 of that is 2.25, so the object ball travels only 2.25 diamonds off the rail. Here's the half stroke from earlier, with the cue ball traveling forward 4 diamonds. 7.5 times that is 30. 6 diamonds to the cushion leaves 24, and 1/4 of that is 6, so the object ball travels 6 diamonds off the cushion. Another useful reference is the object ball distance from the rail, where a rolling cue ball follows forward to the rail and banks the object ball straight back to the other rail. As mentioned in my previous video, this is a useful reference in the game of one pocket. But it is also a good way to compare tables and get a feel for the bounciness of the cushions. It also offers a good speed control practice drill. If the object ball is too far from the rail, the object ball makes it to the rail, but the cue ball does not. And if the object ball is too close to the rail, the cue ball makes it to the rail, but the object ball does not. Again, there is a precise distance for every table, where both balls will barely get to the rails with the right speed. It is a fun and useful exercise to find both the distance and shot speed. This object ball distance is pretty close on this table. But the cue ball traveled a little too far, so I need to move the object ball a little farther away from the rail. My speed is just a touch slow here, but it looks like the distance is right now. Here, my speed is just a hair fast. It is good speed control practice to try to find the perfect speed, where both balls finish as close to the cushions as possible. Be sure to keep the cue ball clean of chalk marks. Otherwise, cling, also known as skid or kick, can occur, causing the cue ball to lose topspin and not follow forward as much. You also need to make sure the cue ball object ball distance is not too close to 3 inches or 10 inches, where a fresh chalk mark can end up at the cue ball object ball contact point. Here's an excerpt from an earlier video that shows this effect. Here's an example where cling is almost impossible to avoid. I need to pocket the 13 and follow up table for a shot at the 8 for the win. If the cue ball were a different distance from the object ball, the shot is easy to execute. However, when the cue ball is certain distances from the object ball, cling is difficult to avoid with a straight follow shot like this. The best way to determine the distances is to start with the cue ball touching the object ball with a red spot at the contact point. Then roll the cue ball away until the spot is at the expected follow shot cue tip position. Here's another view. If the tip hits the red spot, the chalk mark is guaranteed to end up at the contact point between the cue ball and object ball, resulting in cling. With a straight shot like this, cling causes the cue ball to hop and lose much of its topspin, while imparting bottom spin to the object ball. Obviously, this is not the result we wanted. Here's the shot in slow motion. Notice the cue ball hop and loss of topspin. Also notice how the number on the 13 ball starts off going down due to the transferred bottom spin. As we saw before, with the cue ball a little farther away from the object ball like this, the shot works fine with no cling. As always, see the links below in the video description or pinned comment for more information and examples. Good luck with your game from Dr. Dave.